In this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to set aligned goals for this year and then ensure you actually achieve them. Hi, I'm Nicole Case, a former HR leader turned executive coach for women founders, entrepreneurs, and CEOs who want to scale their businesses and lead their teams with more freedom and ease. I've iterated and honed this process over an 11-year corporate career and now 6 years in entrepreneurship with my private clients. And if you want to follow along, I've linked my workbook for you below in the description that you can download for free. There are 4 main parts to the upgraded goal setting process: ponder, preview, plan, and practice. Let me turn the camera around so you can see what this looks like in the workbook. Okay, so this is what the workbook looks like when you download it. So if we come here to this main page here, you can see the goal setting framework here: ponder, preview, plan, and practice. And this is what I'm going to take you through here today. I'm going to take you through each of these 4 steps with the various actions underneath. And again, this is what you are going to do in order to set your 12-month goals, your annual goals, both for your life and for your business. Because let's be clear, they both blend together at this point, right? Okay, so let's dive in here and get to our first step, which is reflection. Now, I know it's really tempting just to skip over this part, but I'm telling you, you cannot set the right goals and then hope to achieve them if we aren't clear about what happened in the last 6 to 12 months. So I do like to keep this simple. I like to ask myself just what worked, what didn't, what do you want more of, what do you want less of, and what did you learn about yourself? What worked? Maybe you were like me and hired a personal trainer last year, which now you are getting stronger and stronger every week and feeling like a total badass. What didn't work? Maybe you hired somebody that didn't really work out and caused a bunch of chaos in the business. What do you want more of? For me, it's more one-on-one clients. This is my absolute favorite way to work with clients in this really private and customized experience. And I know that I want more of that next year. By taking the time to complete this step, you're going to ensure that you're going to set more aligned goals once we get to that step. So if you had an offer this year that really took off and you loved delivering it, then you'll know that that's something that you can add to your goals this year, that's a strategy that you can double down going into this new year. So now that we have reflected, now we need to actually celebrate what we actually achieved last year. This is such a hard step for us, especially us driven, ambitious women, right? And frankly, we're busy too, that we often forget to stop and pause and just celebrate everything. And if we don't, this puts us in a never-ending loop of feeling like we're not enough, that we're behind, and all of those things. So decide how you're going to celebrate. So now that we have pondered, we are going to move forward to preview. So the next step in the process is to define what success looks like for us. And this is going to be different for everyone, but think forward a year from now and say, what does success look like for me? Is it that I was able to take a 2-week vacation and unplug completely because I have an amazing team and processes and systems set up that I could step away and the business still worked without me? Or maybe it's like, no, I don't mind checking in during my 2-week vacation. I don't mind doing that. But what's more important for me, what success looks like for me, is that I get to choose only the work that I want to do. And I'm not saying yes to anything unless it's exactly the type of work I want. So define what success looks like for you. And then you can even write it here in these lined pages that I've put into the workbook in various spots. So don't forget to download it. It's in the link in the description. The next step in this process is setting intentions. And this is about who you want to be. What is that type of upgraded CEO, leader, friend, partner? Who is that person and how do you want them to show up in the moment? So now let's get into the plan part of this framework. So we're going to talk about focus areas, goals, and actions. So let's start bigger and we can funnel it down. So we'll start with focus areas. What are those main buckets that you want to put your attention on this year? Is it your health and wellness? Is it your financial wellness? Is it, again, something in your business? Is it family? Whatever those buckets are, go ahead and choose those and you can write them here in the workbook. So here we are, finally setting our goals. We've reflected. We have celebrated our great accomplishments from last year. We are clear about who we want to be coming into this year, how we actually want to show up and be. And we've decided on the few areas in our business, in our life, that we want to focus on for this year. When it comes to setting an amount of goals, I recommend setting a max of 3 to 5, because by setting fewer, more impactful goals, you'll actually be able to move the needle forward in a more meaningful way and avoid just having a to-do list. Your goals should be inspiring and exciting. And when you're deciding on those few goals, go back and look at that reflection page to see what were those things that you wanted more of, what you wanted less of, what worked and what didn't, so you can decide to either double down on certain things or you can shift gears. And don't forget to go back and look at your success definition. So if success was, completely unplugging for those 2 weeks while you're on vacation, what are those goals that you need to set in order to support that success definition? And also go back to look at your intentions to see what are some goals that I need to set in order to support me actually being able to show up in the way that I want. Now, you can record your goals right here in the workbook, or you can also download my goals tracker that I've linked for you in the description as well. Now that we know what goals we're going after, we can set the actions to actually achieve those goals. Now, this isn't a video on how to cascade these goals down to your team members, but I do recommend engaging your team members, if you have them, on what they recommend working on in order to achieve those goals. Before we get too ahead of ourselves with setting a bunch of actions and to-do lists, I like to start with just brain dumping a list of possibilities. If your goal is to increase your top line revenue by 50% next year, there's a lot of ways that you could actually achieve that goal. So as time goes on, and if you realize that this particular action that you selected isn't really working out, you can just go back to that possibilities list and select a new one without having to freak out and scrap the whole thing. Again, this could be a really great exercise for your team to get in on. So this is the final step of the framework, which is practice. Most goal setting processes stop at the goal setting, but the reality is there's always going to be issues, there's always going to be challenges, and it's best if we can anticipate some of those issues in advance and then also determine what are those habits that we need to either break or build in order to actually achieve those goals. So as an example, if one of your goals is to run a marathon this year, and one of the actions that you're going to take is run outside first thing in the morning, 5 days a week, what are some of those roadblocks that you might come up against? So for me, I know that if I wake up in the morning and it's raining outside, I am not going for a run. So instead of letting that sabotage my success or be a roadblock, I'm going to plan to drive myself to the gym and get on the treadmill that day. I am also not an early bird. So to ensure that I get up and I actually go for that run, a habit that I'll need to create is one where I actually get my water bottle and all of my running gear, my shoes and everything ready and in the bathroom so that when I wake up inevitably late in the morning, I can just put on my stuff and go. And maybe there's some habits that we need to break in order, again, to go back to that intention. Who is that person that you want to be? How do you want to show up? So are there habits that you need to break in order to actually be that person? So that's it. That's the whole process. Here's a couple of final tips before we go. You are on your own journey. Do not compare your goals, your achievements, or accomplishments with anyone else. Be flexible and adjust where you need. Go back to that possibilities list. Perfection is not required for success. Consistency and the willingness to keep going is. Let go of what isn't serving you anymore. Habits and beliefs that you held before may not be what you need in this next level. Rest is not a reward. It's part of the formula to success. So make sure you bake that in. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to download the workbook. It's in the link in the description, and I'd love to hear from you. Put in a comment about what is your number one goal for this year so we can cheer each other on, and I'll see you in the next video.